Hello and welcome back to Oxford Paranormal UK. Today is the 15th of December 2014 and I'm going to do another little series of videos. My previous video about psychology and the paranormal, probably a little bit long-winded, deep subjects, etc, etc. So this video is going to be a lot shorter, and again I'm asking questions. I don't have answers. Well, I in this particular subject I do kind of have an answer. The subject is about calls for help. Now, like a lot of other paranormalers that I follow on YouTube and that follow me, which is, I'm very grateful for, every time, every single time, I don't know about anyone else, every time I'm doing a session, it doesn't really matter whether I'm just using a digital recorder, any digital recorder, a video camera, my SB7, GB1, Echo Vox, it doesn't really matter what it is. There's always cries for help. Help me, please help me. And then I've had actually spirits or ghosts actually shouting down the microphone, help. It's like a real cry for help. I did a session quite recently in a women's hospital. Heartbreaking to hear these children's voices asking for help. And it is something that I have seen on other people's videos as well. There is this constant call for help. Okay. Now, the other thing I've seen a lot of paranormalers, and I do myself, I always say something like, "How can I help you? Please help me, please help me." I did a session quite recently, and then there must have been half a dozen cries for help. Please help me, help. And then you get another spirit saying, or another voice saying, help so-and-so, help Sarah, help Catherine, help Bob, help, whatever. And then I get EVPs like help us, which would indicate that there's plural, as in, there could be a family or several spirits there, maybe related or maybe friends or something. That's actually quite common as well, but the most common tends to be please help me or help me. And I ask, as I say, the question, how can I help you? Now, sometimes I'll get the response, I need to go to heaven. I need to see the light. I want to see God. Those are the kind of responses that I actually get. Sometimes I've actually asked, and I've done this actually for quite a long time, I've then asked, what can I do to help you? And very often you won't get a response from that. Sometimes I've had a response, I need to see the light. I need to go to heaven is another thing. Or they just say heaven. All very interesting, but sometimes can be a bit frustrating, because every single time you do a session, and nearly every time that I see someone else doing a session, there's nearly always an EVP saying, help me, help us, help so-and-so. So my question today is, how do you help them? Or do you help them? Do we as humans help spirits in some way? Why do spirits think that we can help them? Again, I believe to be quite valid questions, because we're here on this plane in the physical world, and they have already gone the next step. Now, I'm not going to go into the depths of the different levels of astral planes or whatever plane, the spiritual realm and such like that exist. Information as regards that seems to change from people's belief systems, but yeah, I think, can we really help them? You know, can we as humans really help an entity that's passed on to a higher plane than what we're on? Which has always been a question that I've had. Now, saying that, I do help them as much as I know that I am helping them. I have had feedback to say that I have helped people. So as people like Steve Huff, so as Mike Paranormal, so as you know, several others. Sorry if I can't remember your names, but you know, I know people like Steve Huff and Mike Paranormal have actually said that they help spirits to go to, and they've had feedback from other spirits or from those spirits that they've helped, that they have actually got to wherever it is they need to go, which I find really, really quite interesting. Again, going back through the psychology, sometimes it's the most simple thing in the world that can help someone, you know. Excuse me while I take a drink. And this is what I keep coming back to myself. If this helps you, then, you know, then great. That's all I can really pray for or wish for. Sometimes in this physical plane, the most simplest thing that you can do to someone, you know, someone who feels like they have no options in life, that everything around them has fallen apart, and the only option that they've actually got, taking it to the extreme, is probably taking their own life or doing something like self-harm or doing something really, really, you know, crazy. And it, you know, that's the one extreme. The other extreme could be a problem that somebody needs to solve. You know, they could have a financial problem. They may have a, you know, an abuse problem. They may have just a simple sort of psychological problem or an issue that they feel like they haven't got any options. You know, somebody who feels like they haven't got any options believe that, you know, there are very few options available to them. And very often people who are trapped in that kind of psychological state can only see one option. You know, sometimes they themselves convince themselves that there is only one option, or there's only two options. They can do this or they can do this. They don't believe that they have more options. And as a psychologist, or as just purely a human being, sometimes the simplest thing can be the one thing that helps that person realise maybe which option is going to be best for them, or that they haven't just got one or two options, that they've actually got a whole load of options. I hope that makes sense. You know, we hear people, you know, sometimes people overcomplicate things in their life. And sometimes we hear stories of people that are, you know, really down and out, and they feel like, you know, there's no point in actually living anymore. And it will take a small token of a gift, whether that be food, money, clothing, you know, whatever that might be on the physical level. It could just be a hug. It could just be spending 5 minutes sitting down and talking to them like you knew them, like they're a friend, to make that switch, to make that turnaround from their current state of no options, or thinking that, you know, there is no other option but this, that this is what they see, to all of a sudden thinking, wow, you know, there's a lot more going on. That switch is the thing that drives me to do my practicing psychology. And it just never ceases to amaze me to help people to realise that no matter how difficult life is, there are always more options. You just don't see them at the time. And I just think a lot of psychologists are about unlocking the filters that people have around them, you know, the blinkers that go on around people's faces, around people's eyes, around their consciousness, that they become tunnel visioned into one option only, that all of a sudden a small act of kindness from another human being can open up a whole world of options. Now, you may start thinking that I'm absolutely crazy here, but if somebody passes over to the other side in that frame of mind, I'm kind of guessing this is why we get so many cries for help. Because they're not seeing the options available to them. They're stuck where they are. You know, if their frame of mind on their passing over was such that they believed there was only one option, whether it was taking their life or whether it was a state of their being at the time that they passed on, frustration with illness, frustration with, you know, with whatever existence they had before they passed away, they're carrying that over. This is where I believe the cries for help come from. Even though there are people around, sometimes these people who feel that they're, you know, life's not worth living, that they've only got one option in life, or that they've only got two options in life or whatever, and they're equally bad, they can have family around them. They can have relatives, they can have friends, they can have complete strangers. They could be completely surrounded by people, but at the same time, they don't have the options. They're not seeing any of that. All they're seeing is this one path, you know? And that's my theory. This is my theory. If you've got another theory, I'd really welcome to hear what your theory is. Why is it we get so many cries for help when we do these sessions? That's my theory, and that's how I've worked to help these spirits get to wherever it is we want to go. Sometimes they don't tell you where they want to go. We don't know where they really want to go. But if we can do something as a physical human being on this plane to help those spirits get to, or get the answer, or the guidance, or whatever it is. It's been as simple sometimes as just saying to a spirit, can you see a light? You get a response saying yes. Then move towards the light. That's where you want to go. Do you feel like you want to go there? And then they very often say, yes, that's where I want to be. You know, what more proof do we need? It also raises a question in my mind as to why they can't see that themselves. Or maybe they can see the light or wherever it is they want to go, but because they feel they only have this one option, it's with sort of restraining them or holding them back from going there or doing it, taking that first step to go towards wherever it is they want to go. I think that's why they keep asking us for help. That's my theory. In case anyone wants to know, how do you help them? There's a whole range of ways I think that we can help them. How do I physically help them? I hold sessions on a fairly regular basis. I make time to, you can see I have a candle here and I burn incense. I've been doing this for decades. For me, this helps not only me to find the right state to be in, but it also helps the spirit world. It creates the right atmosphere, I believe. You know, you may not believe that. I actually take time out to dedicate, 5 minutes, 10 minutes to actually, if you like, gathering spirits to this place and then helping them get to wherever it is they want to go. And to me, it's quite success. It is successful. It is, there are some people who still don't see it. There's still some spirits that still keep hanging around. It's funny because there's one that's just come in now. There are spirits that still, if you like, don't see it. And if we keep relating this back to our human plane, you know, sometimes you can keep saying the same thing to people, or this is what you need to do, this is the answer, if you want to try and go over there, you need to go here, here, here and here. And you can keep saying that time and time again, and it might take years, and they still don't listen. You know, human nature gets carried over, the behaviour gets carried over to the spirit world. Sometimes people get it, you know, the spirits get it straight away. You might even just literally don't even do this ritual. You know, I have a small ritual that I do, and I have certain prayers, and I have certain things that I say that help, and have done, as I keep saying, for sort of decades. Some people can just sit there and say, you know, just close their eyes and do a small meditation and just sort of say a few words about, you know, if you can see the light, go towards the light. If that's you know, how it works for you, then fine, and you feel that it does help, then you know, that's the way you got to do it. That's the way you can help. It is an interesting thing. Do please leave comments down below. I really want to hear your comments and feedback on your experiences with these cries for help and how maybe you deal with them. I'd be very interested to hear that. So hopefully this video hasn't been too long, and I look forward to speaking to you again in another video.